Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is finals time here, taking place on January 10th. Of course, it's the $300 minimum 3v3 search and destroy taking place between Blaz3d and Reckless. Of course, it's myself, Lando Sanders, joined alongside by Jen, a.k.a. Lemon Kiwi. And now, Jen, of course, we're hopping in here toward our first map of this best of three here on St. Marie du Mans. We've got to watch this map be played out a few different times, and we obviously got to watch the guys from Blaz3d play quite a bit. But I want to get your thoughts on when it comes back here to St. Marie du Mans. How does the map play, and what are some strong suits, some kind of normalcies that we're going to be witnessing throughout the rest of this best of 11?
Well, Blaz3d, I mean, no matter what happens, Reckless have to keep in mind to keep the momentum going. They could be up 4 rounds and they cannot leave any room to breathe for Blaz3d, because we've seen time and time again, they will start off the round 0-4 and then come back into round 11 to either win it or lose it. And in this case, they made it to finals, so doing pretty good. And what's doing really well is Reckless starting off with the first blood and also the round win heading into round number 2.
Definitely, and of course, as the both teams kind of start to get a little bit of an idea as far as a feel for each other. We've obviously been able to watch the guys from Blaz3d play so far, and really what's kind of been the story for this team, Jen, I know we've kind of been discussing this back and forth, has been Simp's slow start to a lot of these matches, but his overall dominance toward the end is what kind of led them to obviously winning their last series, which actually took place against the guys known as Friends of the Crown, Godmonks, Dilly, and of course Willie Calhoun. We talked about left fielder actually for the Texas Rangers. Apparently has some fantastic COD skill there as well. I've actually was looking at his Twitter profile. He plays in a bunch of tournaments, like a lot of online tournaments, and a lot of times he's winning them. So it's kind of a surprising thing to see as this round goes by pretty quick in favor this time of the guys on Blaz3d, is the fact of, like I said, they can have some slow starts versus some unorthodox teams that we're not used to seeing. But generally, when Simp plays well, as we got obviously get to witness him finding the final one in this round, when he plays well, the team sees success in that round, perfectly implicates the reason why.
Well, interesting push there from the side of Reckless. Recklessly pushing TMTwerk towards the middle map, who gets first blooded, and then the round win after that for Blaz3d. As we've said time and time again, where Blaz3d usually likes to throw the first 4 rounds, obviously not on purpose, but sort of their streak going into these rounds as nades will be exchanged. You see the defense for Blaz3d pushing over towards the B-bomb site, but it's going to be the bomb in the hand of TMTwerk, where he loses his buddy James to CruZuFy early in that round. Now knows there's a player pushed up at B, so might be deciding to disengage from that.
Definitely possible. Like I said, James taken out. Objective in the hand here of TMTwerk. Is it just above him, I believe? Just to the side of him is actually CruZuFy, taking out the second player of this run. Started to heat up as he's found the first 2. Last one just happens to be behind him, HollyDizz. Been able to watch him and both TMTwerk play a lot toward the kind of preseason of World War II, and everyone's kind of practicing some ghosts. Him and TMTwerk, of course, like I said, majority of teammates when it came down to their heading toward World War II. And it's nice to see them obviously continuing to play with one another. But yet again, Simp involved in the final kill cam. His teammate CruZuFy did the work on the first 2. Simp here for the third. Great responding round. As now we're seeing a pretty close game. Not exactly the same start that we saw in the last series, Jen, where it was a factor of Blaz3d going in total of the first 4 rounds 0-8. Like I said, combined to the first 2 games. But this time, now kind of taking the lead role, 2-1, and this time it's actually CruZuFy leading the way at 4 kills total.
Well, in that last round, it was the defense from Blaz3d pushed up all the way at B, getting the first blood onto a member of Reckless, forcing them to kind of question what they want to do. Go towards B, go towards A, and those players pushing Restaurant, losing those gunfights at the end. Bomb carrier and another player there from the side of Reckless trading themselves back and forth. Bomb is down over at B, where James and TMTwerk from the side of Reckless have their eyes on it. And Simp and iBuLieVe, sort of nowhere close to the bomb. Simp at the back of the map, iBuLieVe laying down in the middle, where it's going to be slow plays from them to work the picks in their favor.
Trying to replicate those, James. F612. Or F612? I'm not exactly sure. This is a new guy. I'm kind of surprised. Haven't really been able to see this guy play too much S&D. Got to be a little bit of a witness to a lot of the guys tonight. Not familiar with a lot of the S&D players, but I've got to... I said, learn a lot about them, and James, of course, is one of them. Not too familiar with this guy's play. It obviously is on this team for a reason, and is in the finals here for the reason. As, like I said, joining alongside by TMTwerk and HollyDizz, as he finds the final kill in that last round. Now securing things back at a 2-2. As I've been saying, like I said, a lot of pushes when it comes down to the B-bomb start on St. Marie-de-Mont. It is very typical. And curious to see if any of these teams decide to kind of change things up. It looks like off the break here for Reckless, they're continuing to kind of play things standard, which obviously doesn't really play toward their name, but still trying out some normalcies here for the most part. As it looks like the push toward B, they kind of meet a little bit of a wall. They kind of are greeted rather by a few of those tacticals. And now they're going to rely on James here to try to find a pick. And up close and personal, this is the one to find it on. Drops CruZuFy, the main slayer so far in this match. And now have an opportunity to really retake over this site. Essentially iBuLieVe it's going to cut off in an awkward situation, but trying to make the best of a bad one. Is able to do so for the most part, but now leaves his teammate Simp in a 1 versus 2, so easing to load. We'll see how Simp can try to get out of the situation.
Well, Simp at least knows the bomb is down over at B, and knows some good call-outs there from the side of Blaz, calling out that push from Restaurant, knowing they were to come from behind, and iBuLieVe, unfortunately, or at least got that pick and then got traded out in the process. So Simp knows the bomb is down. All he has to do is camp and wait for the push from the side of Reckless, and I believe he did spot one player, James and Holly versus Simp, and we've seen this guy clutch it before. We also seen quite a bit of failures on these 1v2s. It is a tough task, and around the corner, he burns, and Reckless take a 1-round advantage after 2 back-to-back ones.
Indeed, nice play there coming in from James, as I believe he's now at 6-3, 5 spree as well. As you just going to bring that one up there, Jen. Solid performance coming in from this guy. As we'll see how close he is to streaks. Okay, so only 125 points off of that fighter pilot. Of course, 150 off of that glide bomb. As their main objective is trying to keep this guy alive. Honestly, I think generally, based on how we've been seeing a lot of the S&D players play, streaks are obviously very important, but they're not the most important. I would definitely take a round rather than maybe 2 streaks, just because of the fact of a lot of guys are using Mountain. Probably, it's fair to say the entire enemy probably rocking Mountain, it's fair to say. But they're right around the corner, Simp, and you just know he is waiting for these shots to come in. James already weak. Simp does not go for the challenge, and obviously James, dolphin dives away, thinks that this push can be made at any moment, and probably might be giving the call that he could be making his way through mid-street. That's definitely obviously a possibility. As he checks toward his left, gets tagged up yet again, and Simp is not leaving this point of view at the same time his teammates are doing the damage necessary. And James, after being in this constant fight throughout Simp, or with Simp rather, throughout this entire round, ends up losing it, as I think, what, like maybe 12 or 13 bullets are probably put into his body throughout this entire round. But the most important 4 bullets are the ones used at the end, as it will be the guys from Blaz grabbing another round here, chucking another one up.
Well, Reckless seem to like to push Restaurant quite a bit. Even on offense or defensive rounds, you pick them, they like to go through that. They don't send too many players towards B. They might check it out. Maybe they're scared of getting naded off, or their usual strategy is to go through Restaurant, where Blaz are starting to recognize that, and they'll either wait for them to come out or just hold on to the B-bomb site. Nonetheless, nades being exchanged. TMTwerk is going to have the bomb. Look at this rush there from iBuLieVe. He's going to be coming up and actually gets the kill onto the bomb carrier. So the bomb is down here for Reckless. And in this trade back and forth, 2 versus 2, James will be the one to go recover the bomb. But where is his teammate Holly? Sort of nowhere to be found on the complete other side of the map. Could be a nice flank, though. We'll have to keep an eye on both these players.
Definitely will. HollyDizz able to take out Simp, the most important player to probably drop in this scenario. As now quickly just 1 kill turns the tide in their favor. iBuLieVe being tagged up from that restaurant window, as he will get taken out. So of course James here with the pickup is bringing Reckless slowly but surely back into this one. It's kind of round by round. We've seen this game kind of be progressed. A lot different series to what Blaz has obviously been involved with in the past. We haven't really been able to watch a lot of Reckless's games, but iBuLieVe, at least in the quarterfinals, they're able to actually take down Poppy Rec and Onyx's team. So definitely a very solid group at that. But still looking on. James, HollyDizz, TMTwerk on the defense is definitely trying to provide a lot of pressure when it comes down to this B-bomb site, pressuring the things that they need to, but in reality, it's actually CruZuFy who's debating on maybe going to that A side. Of course, he's kind of like the lead man for the most part. Simp instead of top. At any moment, could probably have a sniper rifle in this position, but it looks like the smoke is actually brought up. I like the play. I think that was actually a smoke, maybe a stun. Looks like that was... I'm not even actually sure. It might have been just a nade. I thought it was a smoke, but regardless, it looks like it was just a grenade. I was going to say, if they're actually nading top restaurant, I like that play a lot because they're trying to limit that guy's vision onto what would normally be that A bomb site and could potentially try to mask their position of trying to get that bomb down. Regardless, it's not the case. Kills now being traded as CruZuFy and iBuLieVe able to get the advantage. And now we'll see how HollyDizz can try to fare off here. And a 1-on-2 has the position to really clutch out this round, but it's a matter of getting the right timing, which will be his key of success. Shuts down on 1 and iBuLieVe, but doesn't realize where CruZuFy is. And the situation is this going to put CruZuFy in an awkward one because he has no idea when HollyDizz is going to challenge or where he's going to be challenging from. Here comes the close-up and personal fight, and HollyDizz doesn't realize it. A big win coming in there from CruZuFy. As generally, when you're in a spot like that, you really have no idea what to challenge. Gets great timing, as this one will work out in his team's favor. After 8 rounds of play, we're now level at 4.
Well, very smart of Blaz to start nading top restaurant, knowing that at least 1 or 2 players from Reckless like to sit up there to try and have some sites at either bomb site, which is smart of them, but they're not really able to get much objective down. As we'll take a look at how TMTwerk is going to engage this one. He has the bomb, and once again, you're seeing a restaurant push, and you're seeing nades being exchanged exactly where they're going. James at least picks up the first blood onto Simp, which is one of the key players from the other squad, and you got Holly at the bottom of the map baiting towards A. So if he's able to get that gunfight, which he does, just needs to take out CruZuFy before they go for the bomb plate, or at least for the round win, where CruZuFy is left in a 1 versus 2. And very spread apart plays for Reckless, which works out in their favor, taking a 1-round differential now. But still, Blaz love those round 11s, so it's still a very possible thing that can happen.
For sure, and I believe Blaz has seen, I think in total 3 round 11s of their, of course, excuse me. Yes, so 3 round 11s and there are 2 series that they played. Just want to be 100% sure on that. So they are definitely familiar when it comes down to these clutching situations. As loading in here toward this round number 10, they will be on the offense and at least applying some pressure when it comes down to this B bomb site. As it looks like off the beginning, at least for the defensive setups. Of course, we're kind of looking at HollyDizz, TMTwerk, James. The farthest pushed up player is James, and he could absolutely play spoils here if he checks the right corner. He could find someone, but it's actually going to be iBuLieVe holding their top window position who finds the first blood. And now based off of that, it's really got to be TMTwerk in this position who realizes that, hey, most likely the push is being made. And at that, he ends up dropping. It's now up to HollyDizz in a 1 versus 3 to close this one out in a round 10. Can he get it done, or is overtime going to be forced? He gets fired from the backside. And just like that, the 4th overtime game for Blaz. As we've seen them in 3 different series. Like I said, their 4th overtime in total, as their clutch run, only continues.
Round 11, they're not shy from that. They've been winning every single round 11 to put them in this position where double digits being earned there from CruZuFy and James from the side of Reckless. It'll be the boys from Reckless who are on the offense. And look at this push here, pushing 2 towards A. And they have James at the top of the map watching over mid-map. So this is a pretty solid setup. They're getting the bomb down as quick as they can. And Holly is pushed up all the way into the base from Blaz. But they need to try and stay together in case trades go through. Blaz are going to have a member at top restaurant trying to keep an eye on the bomb site or where these players are. But a 3 versus 3. This is round 11. This is looking good here for the boys from Reckless getting first blood.
I like this play from James, kind of hanging in the back lines, takes out CruZuFy, and just like that, iBuLieVe left in a 1-on-3. HollyDizz lingering just around the corner. Can he drop him? Yes, does take out one. Second in his mitts, and honestly, as if you're player number 1, regardless of what happens in that gunfight, you're most likely going to try to get out of that position. But this time, it is the opposition winning this game against the side of Blaz. It will be Reckless who closes out map number 1 in OT. Here in the finals, and to kind of break down that last round, I really like the play that we actually see come out from Reckless, because they really live up to their title as far as their team name is considered, just because of the fact that they rush the off-site. We obviously were witness to kind of seeing that happen a few times throughout this search and destroy, but generally they make kind of an awkward rush, and essentially I think you even called it out, Jen. At one moment there was actually one player, it might have been HollyDizz, who was actually in the entire enemy spawn. Like, based off of that, you know that they're feeling confident. They kind of realize that, hey, we have full control over this site. Let's get the bomb down and really just kind of rush ourselves and kind of get in the opposition's face, or maybe even kind of hide around a corner. So what happens is that once they get the bomb down, HollyDizz is on one pushed up position in the enemy spawn. On the opposite end, James is actually kind of holding back. He's like, you know what? They're going to be realizing the bomb is down. They're not most likely going to make a push through mid-map. They're going to be kind of forcing their way through one lane or the other. Obviously, him and HollyDizz realize the situation at hand. They both kind of hold a head glitch or even a corner, rather. I think it's James who might have found a kill or at least just kind of gets tagged up. He kind of hangs back, plays for the kill. They obviously win the round in the end. But I really like the play that came in from Reckless. Like I said, living up to their title, make a very odd play in round 11 when they are on offense. Very risky play at that, but it obviously works out. High risk, obviously high reward. This time pays off for them here in the end, as they're now up 1-0 in this best of 3 final series here for, of course, a $300 minimum 3v3 search and destroy. It has obviously been a very interesting one, Jen. I was kind of curious coming into this tournament based on, of course, not really doing a 4 versus 4, how it would kind of translate, especially to search and destroy. I got to say, I'm pretty interested and very excited about what we've seen so far throughout this match, throughout this entire series, kind of based on what we've obviously been witnessing. A lot of overtimes, a lot of close games. I'm really enjoying myself. How about you?
I'm really enjoying myself. These back-to-back round 11s really increase your blood pressure, and especially for the boys that are Reckless that clutched it in the round 11. And I think that was James that dropped 11 and 6, so almost double positive. And although we've never maybe heard of these players, or they haven't been playing in these tournaments, or maybe we haven't casted them over them as much as maybe the guys from Blaz, they're really proving themselves against a high caliber team. And I'm excited to go into this Arden Forest Search and Destroy, where Reckless are up 1-0 in the series, and this is a finals of best of 3, so this could be also good night for Simp's team of Blaz. But let's start this up and see maybe if we get another map 3, which has been sort of a reoccurring thing on the stream.
Absolutely. It's obviously been a normal seat, to say the least, and we obviously got to witness, actually, the guys on Blaz play this map in their last series, like I said, versus the guys on Friends of the Crown, where they were down 4-0, ended up winning 5 rounds straight to close things out in overtime. So they know what to do when it comes in a clutch. Simp, the man who's most likely going to be leading the way, had a little bit of a slow game in map number 1. Talk about based off performance, a lot of the time is how his squad does. 4v4, 3v3 regardless. When the guy turns up, his team sees success. And we'll see how that obviously is implicated, as iBuLieVe last up here in this 1 versus 2 position. On offense, it's a first and early loss here for the guys on Blaz, as Reckless continuing on with that momentum.
Wow, and 2 kills there for James again, and Holly with 1 Simp, the only one with kills. And remember, was an S&D a couple maps ago where he started off with the only one with kills for so many rounds in a row, literally putting his team in the backpack. But nonetheless, we go into round number 2. It's going to be a slow S&D, I feel. It was very back and forth in the one we just saw. But let's take a look at what the defense are going to be setting up. Pushing Simp all the way towards B. He's being extremely aggressive. Gets into around this corner where TMTwerk finds iBuLieVe, who is pushing up towards B. Simp at least has the knowledge of where these players from Reckless are. And that's James walking right past him.
Simp doesn't go for the challenge, but can't win it. James is there for the pickup. 3 up, 3 down. As it's going to be the guys on Reckless. Up 2-0, and I was kind of bringing up a little bit toward the fact of Arden Forest in the last series, but I really think that we see Simp kind of like this position. I think it really kind of favors him a lot, regardless of losing that last gunfight. Obviously, it wasn't a 1v3 in total. But I think the reason why he likes to kind of position himself in U a lot of the time here, Jen, is just because he's very good at kind of challenging around corners. He knows what kind of the opposition likes to do. I think he kind of feeds off the kind of normalcies and kind of normal player strategies that we witness. So I think he kind of likes to kind of hang out around U because he can kind of challenge different corners, tag someone up from obviously one side because he has such a great shot, as we can obviously get to witness here in the first 2 kills. I think the reason why he likes to kind of reign over in U, especially over on this B bomb site, is just because the advantage and the overall kind of leverage he can get, kind of the interesting corners he can kind of obviously succeed around from. As now, we obviously witness him find the first 2 off the break. James now left in a 1 versus 2 spot. As right now, James yet to die, keeping in mind streaks, as he does take on CruZuFy, who's going to get the ace here, and it looks like it will be James. A big play coming in here for him, as just like that, we talk about the early start from Simp. Can he kind of continue things on to finally chuck one up on the board, but it is James here for the side of Reckless to play spoils, as he drops all 3 in round number 4, round number 3, as they've yet to lose one, and now technically they're halfway there to even closing out this final.
This is insane. This is quite the showing from Reckless. And also, but you don't want to give any breathing room for Blaz. They've been in this situation before, and they know how to clutch up, and they know how to keep that composure. Look at this aggressive push from Holly all the way through the map.
Oh,
comes up from behind CruZuFy for the first blood. Now they're over at the A site getting the bomb down. iBuLieVe is trying to prevent it from going on. Let's keep an eye on him. If you can at least get the pick right after the bomb goes down. Man advantage here for Reckless. And huge man advantage now as Simp slept in a 1 versus 2. And this is a huge round for Blaz to win if they're able to clutch it, but they cannot. 4 consecutive rounds here for Reckless, and they're looking to take the money home.
They absolutely are, and I like that strategy actually coming in from HollyDizz. Plays the exact same way that Simp did in round number 1 on offense. Rush up through mid, take out the player who's obviously kind of playing for that head glitch on that side truck. Goes for the flank, takes out the first player, and kind of immediately gets himself placed in the enemy spawn back, obviously, inside of that bridge head glitch. So with that, 4 rounds in a row. Granted, we have seen Reckless in this exact same position in the past. In fact, the last 2 games in the last series, they were put down 4-0. Can they do it again? James, yet again, dominating as he finds a nade off the break, 7-1, and looking to potentially find the second one here, just around the corner inside a bunker. It's player number 2. It's Simp who can win the battle. It's Simp who wins this one. 2v2 now. Bomb is down in an awkward spot. We'll see how Simp and CruZuFy can try to rebound from the awkward position that they currently find themselves in. And right now it's TMTwerk and HollyDizz, both on opposite bomb sites. Question being, do they try to join up with one another?
Well, you hope that they do, because Simp and CruZuFy are playing as a unit, but still, TMTwerk by himself able to pick up Simp. However, just like that, the trade goes through, leaving CruZuFy in a 1 versus 1 versus Holly, where Holly at least knows the information of where his last whereabouts were. But CruZuFy here from the side of Blaz, gonna be on offense, I believe, so still has to recover the bomb.
Yeah.
And have no idea where it is, or even where Holly is. Actually, Holly's at the very back here of bunker. And at least the bomb is recovered here for CruZuFy, but Holly has to make moves here. 13 seconds are down, yeah. And he's going to go for the plant. Like, you got to know that this is an obvious move here for CruZuFy.
No. And CruZuFy might actually spot him. He spots him toward the right side, and HollyDizz just needs to stay up. Can he stay up? But no, CruZuFy is there for the pick. At different moments, it looked to kind of be like a little bit of a scale as to who has the advantage here. At least at the beginning, we thought the HollyDizz, without question, did. He spots the player kind of rotating into cabin. Then I thought, well, CruZuFy, maybe he did spot him kind of coming in toward that side cave. He doesn't. HollyDizz then has the advantage to kind of rush him up. But instead, it's the man who obviously plays very, very well onto that bomb. CruZuFy going big when he absolutely needs to. Now 4 rounds to 1. And back-to-back, now to back maps. We've seen them do this exact same play, being down 4-0, and then getting that momentum. That time it's CruZuFy coming up big. Is momentum going to continue, or will it be crushed? Big gunfights like this are important. CruZuFy at least is able to trade off on one, and now Simp taking on TMTwerk, goes for the challenge, shuts him down, and James is not here for the pickup. James is nowhere to be found, but at least he does grab the objective, but doesn't go for the plant. Granted, of course, we can witness this with Codcaster, but this is an unfortunate position where James doesn't get the bomb down earlier. And while he eventually will get this bomb planted, there's at least 10 seconds. I mean, this could be 33 seconds, rather, at this point, that the bomb could be expiring, putting more pressure on the Simp. However, coming from that flank, a huge round for Blaz3d. Almost a have-to win. As if you're in James' position, he's been playing well this entire series. Just play your life, play the time. And he's playing it very well. This is just a hardcore bait that James is playing, kind of betting whether or not Simp's going to go for the defuse, ready to go for the challenge. And here comes Simp around the corner. Who's going to win it? I don't believe that Simp's going to have enough time. They just miss each other. James will somehow win this round based off of COD timing. They literally run right past each other. And off of that, a 5th round victory. And unfortunately, James will actually kill himself there onto the bomb exploding. Maybe out of celebration, not exactly sure why. They are, and they do possess the team name of Reckless, so maybe they're feeling that way. But a 5-round to 1, 4 rounds overall to work with advantage, as this is obviously the biggest test of this tournament so far for the guys on Blaz3d, heading in toward round number 7, playing for their tournament life, as they have to win 6 rounds in a row, or excuse me, 5 rounds in a row, excuse me, to obviously just win this map, and then have to win another 6 in the next game. And Simp drops for the first blood. HollyDizz finding that. They've lost their leader. And iBuLieVe, who's yet to find a kill, could potentially be joining the agency in the finals.
Well, at least he'll join the agency with some money in his pocket if that does happen. Or actually, no, he won't. His team will blame him entirely. I got the team names wrong. Nonetheless, after all is said and done, iBuLieVe is the last one left. Is he joining the agency, or will he get a kill? He's trying to chase down TMTwerk. TMTwerk is laying down.
Oh.
Should be an easy kill, but doesn't finish him off. The pure choke out of that. Reckless takes so many rounds in a row where you think Blaz are going to come back because they're able to stay composed and move through these rounds. Where Simp started off, I think after 4 rounds with the only one with kills in the back pocket. CruZuFy finally joins them with 4 at the end. But this was quite an impressive performance, and I think we can say we're both surprised from this win from Reckless.
Yeah, I definitely am. I think it's fair to say. I was at least kind of thinking that we're going to see a fairly close game, but of course you see this final scorecard there. Simp 6-6, CruZuFy 4-6, but iBuLieVe in the end 007. Gotta kind of call it out. I'm a big fan of iBuLieVe. I've watched him obviously play in Search and Destroy. Very talented player. But obviously when it really matters most, wasn't really able to kind of pick it up and does join the agency. So I gotta kind of call it out there, iBuLieVe. Sorry about that, pal. But regardless, like I said, it is obviously the guys on Reckless who do win this one in a 2-0, most notably a 6-1 victory on Arden Forest, as they are going to be your $300 minimum 3v3 Search and Destroy January 10th champions. So obviously, congratulations to the guys on Reckless, of course, James, TMTwerk, and HollyDizz. Most notably, James, right? I mean, he was playing very, very strong throughout these last 2 maps. Of course, I believe finished 11-6 on map number 1. I believe he finished with double digits, I want to say, also on map 2. At least was kind of at the higher end of the scorecard for his team here on Arden Forest as well. But really kind of had an all-star performance, I think it's fair to say. Definitely kind of led the way for the team. But like I said, I think Blaz kind of finally met their match here, Jen. I know in their last series versus Friends of the Crown, they were kind of able to work with a few rounds. Not that they were toying with them by any means, but I think the confidence that they got after making a 5 round swing after being down 4-0 and round count really was big for them. They obviously translated that when it came down to map number 2, doing basically the exact same thing, making 4 rounds in a row kind of after that victory, obviously in map number 2 as well there. But still, I think they kind of met their match when it came down to this series. They were kind of down early when it came down to Arden Forest as they were in their prior series. It's kind of funny the amount of little things you can kind of take from each one, but generally, who were the guys in Reckless who were just too strong. And we talk about that final play that really comes in. James just really kind of able to stay alive in that 1v1 versus Simp to kind of give them that 5-1 kind of cap, essentially, that kind of, kind of cushion, rather, to really kind of progress themselves into winning this tournament. And obviously, whenever, not that, I hate to say this, right, because Simp obviously gets, I think, 6 kills in total, kind of leads the way still for his team. But when you have a teammate who obviously hasn't found one yet, there's a lot of negatives that come with that. We talk about how important the first bloods are. He obviously was made for quite a few of them, was iBuLieVe. So I think kind of having a teammate kind of be non-existent on the map, not really getting a whole lot of things done. While also this is a 3 versus 3 tournament. I mean, if it's 4v4, 5v5, obviously related to different esports, it's a little bit easier to kind of carry the load for one player. But when it's a 3 versus 3, I mean, that's a third of your objective that's obviously not being done, or a third of your kills, a third of the slaying that's not being done either. So I think they kind of finally met their match. They had some good moments throughout the most part, had some really close issues where they could have maybe secured rounds, etc. But in the end, it's obviously James and co from Reckless who kind of closed things out. And like I said, congratulations to them.
Yep, you hit it right on the head. Simp had an amazing performance throughout the whole journey through the bracket, and kind of the Simp backpack, Simp the backpack, or whatever you want to change his name to. He started off this S&D with the only one with kills, and a lot of the rounds were sort of initiated by him, or at least he was left in these 1v3 and 1v2 scenarios. Some of them where he's able to clutch, and most of them not able to do much. So we'll have to see a little bit more teamwork out of them, but they still had an amazing performance. It's not really that they made mistakes. It's just Reckless outperforming them in the coming maps, where congratulations to them, and we hope to see them in more tournaments where we can get to know these players a little bit better.
Absolutely, and of course you guys can obviously see the bracket there just for a short time, where Reckless is obviously able to make the run that they were able to. Of course, we were kind of able to stay on board with Blaz through a lot of this tournament, of course, taking down Tortugas, and obviously the guys and Friends of the Crown progress themselves to the finals, where, like I said, Jen, they obviously do fall to a obviously higher level team. I think it's fair to say in this best of 3 series. But like I said, guys, that was going to do it for tonight's tournament. We, of course, want to thank you guys so much for joining us alongside here in this very interesting one, to say the least. As I'm not going to lie, I was kind of heading into this tournament, was very curious to see how a 3 versus 3 tournament would kind of work, especially in Search and Destroy. And I was a fan. I really am. I'm a big fan when it comes down to, of course, normal 4v4 kind of competitive style variants or search and stories alike. But I'm not going to lie. I think it'd be fun to kind of do more 3 versus 3 tournaments, of course, if you guys would obviously be a fan of watching those alongside of us. But it looks like the viewership and the overall kind of synopsis that we kind of got was that you guys pretty much enjoyed this tournament nearly as much as we did. So with that, of course, we got to bring up a few things here for tonight. If you guys did miss any of the very interesting matches, which of course a lot of them we were on board with the guys from Blaz. We ended up seeing a professional baseball player actually play Willie Calhoun from the Texas Rangers, left fielder actually for the Texas Rangers, playing a tournament tonight where his team actually ended up choking 2 4-0 advantages and back-to-back maps versus Simp. I know that's kind of like a pay-per-view style advertisement, but essentially we ended up having one of those matches happen. We ended up seeing, I think, like 4 or 5 round 11. Simp was dropping countless 14, 13 bombs throughout a lot of these games as well. So a lot of awesome action actually happened throughout this tournament, and we have a lot of awesome action that obviously happens throughout the week in all the tournaments that we do broadcast. And the way that you guys can obviously find all those videos on demand is actually at our YouTube channel, of course, at UMG.